So, normally this is a show that I wouldn't watch. I would completely avoid it. But two reasons why I started watching it, why I tried to watch it. So the first thing is my wife likes a lot of the Marvel stuff. So I said, well, why don't we watch this together? It could be a show that we watch together, and it might be something that I'll like, and it might be something that she likes. I'm not a huge She-Hulk fan, but again, I'm a huge Marvel Comics fan. So I know about the character. I know about her supporting characters, and of course, since this is the MCU, well, maybe there'll be some other characters that I know and love who pop in. So I said, well, why not watch it? Maybe it'll be something that I can stomach, and maybe it's something that my wife will enjoy. So let's watch it together. The second reason I wanted to watch it is I heard rumors that the Daredevil character, Jesus Christ, I can't think. Matt Murdock was supposed to be maybe making cameos in it, and I'm not a big Daredevil fan of the character. I mostly know about Daredevil because I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan, and because the Ninja Turtles was based on Daredevil, I paid some attention to Daredevil growing up, only because of the Ninja Turtles. So with that being said, I do know a lot about Daredevil, but I'm not a huge Daredevil fan. But I am a huge fan of the Daredevil television series. I think that is one of the best series I've ever seen on television because I'm not a huge TV fan. I mostly watch movies. I mostly watched movies growing up, never really watched TV. Um, so I don't know too much about a lot of television shows anyway. But out of all the shows and the good ones that I've watched, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, television shows. Daredevil, the Daredevil TV series that premiered on Netflix. I loved that show. So seeing that maybe that character will come back, and I wanted to see how the character acted, how they wrote him, to prepare myself to see if I should waste my time watching the Daredevil series that's supposed to come out. Um, so that's why I started watching this. I I couldn't finish it. I couldn't. I sat through the first two episodes, I believe. I know I sat through the first episode. Um, and the first episode wasn't horrible. It wasn't a great episode. It wasn't great television, but it wasn't horrible. It's supposed to be a short television show about She-Hulk. They made changes. I have issues with changes. I'm actually going to go into some issues that I have with changes. But before I do want to say I normally complain a lot about changes, but I had to take a step back and remind myself that most of the things that I know and love have been changed. And so for me to complain about new changes for a new generation would kind of be hypocritical and a little stupid of me to do. So I kind of have to calm down when it comes to that. Characters like Batman, for example, the Batman character I fell in love with was made famous in the late '80s and the early to mid '90s. He wasn't that character wasn't that way when he initially came out. He went through all of these big changes. So that's going to happen for other things for newer generations, and I have to get used to that and know that that's going to happen and just deal with it. But with that being said, there were changes in the first episode that I didn't necessarily like. Sorry about that. Episodes that I didn't. There were changes I didn't really like the way that she turns into She-Hulk. They decided to change that. The fact that she can change back and forth. She wasn't able to do that in the beginning. She wasn't. That was something that happened later on in the series. So that was dumb. I understand why they did it, but it was still dumb to do. And I think those were the only real major changes. Because again, I'm not a huge fan of She-Hulk, so if there were other changes, I don't really know too much about them. But other than that, the first episode wasn't horrible. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It just was a thing. I like seeing Hulk back. It was fine for what it was. The second episode, I don't know if I watched the whole thing or not, but I know that I think Abomination was in that episode. I was annoyed with that because the Abomination Another character can't change back and forth at will. He's just an abomination now. That's it. So I don't know why they did that. Again, I didn't love the episode or hate it. It just was a thing. Fine, it existed. And then the third episode, which I don't even remember what that episode was. I couldn't watch that whole episode. I think that was the episode that had the Wrecking Crew in it, and the Wrecking Crew was just a joke, an abysmal joke. That's not the Wrecking Crew. Um, that's not the Wrecking Crew. The way that they portrayed the Wrecking Crew, I don't know why they're doing things that they're doing, but I didn't like it. I was just annoyed with that. That was just pathetic and horrible, and it was a big joke to see these guys. I don't know. I don't even know what I want to say about that. I couldn't watch that. Then there was another episode. I think the one after that, I think had something to do with magic, or maybe that was the third one. I don't even remember. They were so bad and irrelevant. The one that had to do with magic, I couldn't even get through the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I was like, this show is just horrendously bad, and I just stopped watching it. I'm gonna have to just go online and and watch reviews, I guess, so I can find out when Charlie Cox appears in the show. So maybe I can just fast forward to hit those clips that he's in, or catch the clips online. I don't know, but it's really not worth my sanity. So the show it started off and it wasn't a horrible show. It wasn't a good show either. It was just a show. And then it just became just boring and trash. And it became complete garbage for me. I think I said it earlier. Let me say it real quick. My wife couldn't even watch it. My wife just doesn't have no interest in it. It's boring to her. So get back onto the point. The show started off like just a show, and then it just became complete trash to me. And the reason that it became complete trash is for a few reasons. First of all, it's not funny. It's not a funny show. It's not funny. It's not fun. It's not interesting, and it's annoying. And if a show is all three of those things, well, it's a bad show. They're trying to be funny. The jokes aren't landing. It's not a fun ride. It's not a fun time because it's just boring. I'm bored. I'm not even paying attention. It's so boring. I'm doing research on other things because I'm just annoyed or I'm just bored. I'm not engaged. And then the show is just annoying. They're doing stupid, annoying things in the show that annoy you. And then the real reason why the show is complete trash to me is this show, and the research I was doing while watching it is looking in to see who is writing and producing and directing the show. This show is like it's headed primarily by women. And I know people are probably tired of hearing about it. I don't give a fuck if people are tired about it or not. I'm going to keep talking about it because that's just what I'm going to do because they keep doing it, so I'm going to keep talking about it. This show seems like it is headed by women. And it seems like it's not headed by women who are fans of the comic books either. So it's like they just cast women who are women. Just because you have a vagina and you have some sort of experience in the field, and because you know the right person or fucking the right person, that you're gonna get the job. And the fact that it is headed up by women, while that shouldn't be a bad thing. Again, the only reason I'm talking about this, She-Hulk was created by two men. She-Hulk belongs to an industry that has been propelled into the stratosphere, propped up by primarily men. It's a product that normally belongs to males. I don't understand how this concept is so alien to people. She-Hulk belongs to us, is what I'm trying to say. She may be a female character, but she's just a character nonetheless to us. As sexist as women want to say men are, we're the ones that create these characters and read their stories. They exist because of us. They're around because of us. So when a corporation comes along and says, well, this is a female character, so we're going to make this a woman's thing where it's made by women for women, Well, as the male fans who this character normally belonged to, we take a step back and say, why are you doing that? And to all the women that may hear this or hear us men complain and not understand, think of it this way. Take the show Sex in the City. In that show, in Sex in the City, it's a primarily female cast, but you do have a handful of male characters. One of the male characters is the love interest or the husband. He's the love interest of the main character, Sarah Jessica Parker's character. And to all the people out there asking how do I know about this, I don't watch Sex in the City. I have a wife and she watches it, and we're spending time together on the couch. I'll catch episodes of it. I don't watch this show. Just no. So in the show, there's a character by the name of Mr. Biggs or Mr. Big, and he is the love interest of the lead character of the character played by Sarah Jessica Parker, which I don't remember her name, Carolyn or Stephanie. I don't know. Wow, I don't remember the name, but Sarah Jessica Parker's love interest is a guy by the name of Mr. Big. Sorry, going off on a tangent. The character is a male character, but he's a big character to the female audience. So big of a character that when they redid the show, they killed him off, and that sent shockwaves through the fan base because he was a big character. But he's a male character. Let's say HBO released a new series called Sex in the City, The Life of Mr. Biggs. Mr. Big, whatever his name is. And the show comes out, and the show is written by all men. The show is produced by all men. All of the directors that for each episode are males. And the show is geared towards a male audience. So Mr. Biggs is in the show. They show that they show him, I don't know, as what do men mostly like to watch? I don't really know. They show that they show him hanging out with the guys. They show him making jokes about women being misogynistic. Maybe it's a lot of action scenes involved. And the show is just written for males, and it's something women don't have an interest in. I guarantee you women would sit back and say, well, why did they make a show about a character from our show? Why would HBO do this? Why would they take a character from a show that is loved by mostly women and then just completely rehaul it just for men? Why would they do that? And there would be a complaint online, and the complaint would be justified. You'd be like, well, why are you taking a character we know and love, advertising it as something that is linked to what we know and love, which means you're basically advertising to us, the fans of the source material, and then making it for a completely different audience. That doesn't even make sense. That wouldn't make any sense. And as men, that's how we feel. We watch this and we're like, well, granted, she's a female character. Granted, I'm sure she has some female fans, but this is a character made by males made for males. So where are you coming from taking this character and now making it and retooling it just for females? Why does that happen? And that's how we feel when we watch these shows. I watch this and I could tell, well, this is not made for me. It's made for women. I don't have a vagina. I'm not a woman, so I guess I'm not supposed to be watching this. And it goes back to something I said in another video. The feeling that we get is that women and homosexuals are like jealous of us, and they see things that we know and love, and they decide, well, we're gonna take it from you, and because you like it, we're gonna make it ours. That's the feeling that we get because we don't understand. Well, what this isn't made for you. There's plenty of things made for you. Go and watch that stuff, or make new shows about that. Go and make an action show based. Go make a show based on women for women. Go ahead and do that. A show that women know and love, and make that for them. There's so many things to choose from, so many stories, so many properties, so many existing shows and movies that you could take and redo, remake, retool, and make it just for women. And make it for them. We don't complain about that. You don't see people online saying, why is Sex in the City a show? Why is there a show out about women and their lives? Nobody says that shit. Nobody watches what are the women's shows, Grey's Anatomy, and says, why is this show focusing on women in the hospital and their relationships? There's no complaints about that because we're not dickless, pathetic trash. We understand women are out there and women are gonna want to have shows for them. They're gonna want to watch those shows. Good luck. I hope those are good shows. I'll try watching them. Let's see how I like them. So we're not complaining about that stuff. But when you take things that you know have been made by us for us and purposely rework it just to exclude us, well, then it's like, well, there's no reason to do that. So why are you doing that? Is there some other motive involved? Are you just trying to drudge up some sort of conflict between males and females? We don't understand why, and it doesn't make any sense to us. And that's why we're always complaining. We only complain when you knowingly take something that has been, again, made by us, made for us, and then take that, advertise it to us, and then we sit down and then we find out, no, you actually reworked it and retooled it exclusively for females. Then, of course, we're going to fucking complain. What do you expect? So that's why this show is just complete trash. Because it's like a slap in the face to us fans. Then I went and decided to watch the trailer in anticipation of recording this, so it's fresh on my mind. And in the trailer, the trailer actually makes the first episode look worse because the first episode. You have while there are major issues with the way they handle certain things. For the most part, She-Hulk they don't make her stronger and better than the Hulk in the first episode. They really don't. He throws a rock, just to show her. She throws one farther, but then he throws another one even further. So that's fine. He does his sonic clap. And it's a lot stronger than hers. And she just tries to compensate by doing a smaller one. And it's still smaller. It's still effective, but it's not the same as his. So that it's not as bad in the first episode. It is still bad in the first episode, which I'm not really going to go into. But it's not as bad. But the trailer makes it look very disrespectful. I'm going to say it that way. The trailer makes it look like, well, because she has a vagina, she's automatically going to be better than the male version of her. She's automatically just better than him, and that he's jealous of her because she has a vagina and he has a penis. So not only is she better than him, but he is inferior and jealous because he's just a penis person.
This is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on. Yes. Yeah. Being a Hulk asks for balance. You have so much more to learn. Yes!
So I'm clearly nailing it at all of these things.
If you want to go back to life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
I think I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
And I want to issue a challenge to any females out there that may be listening to this. In this show, in the Captain Marvel movie, in Ant-Man and Wasp, in so many shows where you have a female and a male, and the show is centered on the female, in so many of those things, if not all of them, they go out of their way to make sure that the female either makes the man look stupid or comical, or that she is better. And you can watch it in this trailer, in this show itself, you can watch it. I'm sorry, in the She-Hulk show, you can watch it in that show. It happens in that show. So I want to issue a challenge. I want you to go out there and watch anything that is centered on a male character that also includes females as a co-star or a background character, and name any instance where they make the male star treat the female star as if she's inferior. The male hero. that he treats the female like she's less than, or she's a bumbling idiot, or that she's a joke, or she's a comical piece of trash. Just name one thing in the comments. One thing. Just I don't even need a whole bunch. One instance where that happens. And you're not going to be able to. And the reason for that is, and it's something that has to be talked about, is us males, we don't have any insecurity where we need to be told all the time that we're better than. We don't need that. So you women got to question yourselves and wonder, why do women always need to know, to be told that they're better than the male, or be shown to be better than the male or more superior than the male? Why do you all need that? Why you have to? Don't you want to figure out why that isn't something that you all need? Why? Is there something subconscious going on? Because we don't need that. That's never done in any of our stuff. We don't need to have shows or movies or media where we're the star and the female co-star is a bumbling imbecile, or she's a coward, or she's obnoxious. She's just an unlikable character. She's not as good as us, or she's less than. That's never a thing. That's never done. Any show or movie that has a male star and there's a female in it, we go out of our way to make sure that we let you know that you are at least our equal. We're at least on the same level. So why do women constantly need that? Why is that constantly done for women? That's something you got to think about. So that's just something about this show and about a lot of shows that just kind of irks us males. The reason that Disney spent so much money on things like Star Wars, and I'm not even going to say Star Wars, I'll just say Marvel. The reason they spent so much money on things like Marvel is because Marvel's, that property is such a huge thing, because us men, a handful of women have been involved too. You have women comic book fans as well. You also have women creators within the comic book genre. But primarily, I'd say almost exclusively, this has been a male thing. Men have written these stories, they've created these characters, they've drawn these characters, and then young boys to teenage boys to young adult males to adult males have bought the comic books. We bought the collectible cards, we watched the cartoons, we bought the video games, we bought the merchandise, the gear, we bought the clothes, the hats, the book bags, the trapper keepers, the lunch boxes. We built this thing up to such a huge thing that now you know you're going to make money on it, because not only will us men, us men will be shelling out money constantly for it, but we're going to bring along our girlfriends, we're going to bring along our wives, we're going to bring along our parents. Hey, look at this movie, look at this show. It's based on something I know and love, and I know you're going to like it too. Watch it. So we as males, we have built this thing up to such a huge height that Disney knows, well, if I invest this amount of money, I should make a good return on it. Yet you invest the money and then you take it and say, well, fuck you, men, for building this thing up. I'm now going to make it for other people. And we don't get that. Grant, we understand that women outnumber us and that's a huge market, but women don't have an interest in this thing. They're not going to. Not at the same level that we do. So if you're going to make it and you want to include a female audience, do what they initially did. Make female characters, but make it based on what it was in the past. You can have your Black Widows and your Wasps and these other female characters, your Captain Marvels, but you don't have to say fuck you to the original fan base to try and do what? Placate another audience that you think will be more loyal than we've been for decades, for over almost a century at this point? It makes no sense. So if it makes no sense in business wise, then that's why I start to say, well, are people just jealous and they're just trying to insult us or create some sort of divide? Because it doesn't make sense business wide. It's just a stupid thing, and it's nonsensical to us, and it doesn't make any sense. So this show is just another example of that, of these businesses coming out and saying, well, I'm just going to take something that men have propped up, men know and love, and I'm just gonna make it for women and fuck them. And if they complain, well, I'm gonna say they're being misogynistic for having emotions and complaining and having opinions. Having a dick is bad. Dick bad. Vagina good. Trying to create some sort of divide between us. She-Hulk may be a female character, but she's a female character the same way that Rogue is, or the same way that Wonder Woman is. You don't have to change the story around just to say fuck you to the male audience. Just make the show and we'll watch it. Why would we not watch the She-Hulk character? She exists and is a big deal because of us. So of course we're gonna fucking watch it. Now you've just made this thing pissed off and alienated the initial fan base and just crossing your fingers and saying, we hope all women will like this. No, you dumb bitch. They're not going to like it just because you made it for them. That's not how it works. Stop being lazy. That's fucking lazy. That's what this is. Instead of vetting people, looking at their past work, hiring people based on that to write a good story and to make a good product, these people just said, well, it's a female character. She has a vagina and titties. So we're going to hire other people that have vagina and titties. And we're going to make it for people that have a vagina and titties. And hopefully the people that have vagina and titties are stupid and watch it just because we included vagina and titty things in it. That's the only reason we're going to do that. Is because we're too lazy to actually make a good product. I don't know why people don't sit down and watch things like Daredevil. Another issue I have with this show is I'm a big fan of law. I was going to go to law school, but I just decided not to because I'm too lazy and cheap. So I didn't. But I love law. I'm a big, I grew up in college reading just nothing but John Grisham novels. I love anything that has to do with law as far as entertainment. Anything that has to do with law. That's one of the reasons why I like the Daredevil television show. And this show is about a fucking attorney. Yet they can't even write competent episodes with actual courtroom drama in it that's legitimate, makes sense, it's entertaining and real. Even that shit is a fucking joke. If you can watch shows like Daredevil had this great mix. Granted, the shows were an hour, almost 40-something minutes long, and these are shorter, but Disney has a lot more money than Netflix has now. They definitely have more than Netflix had at the time when they made Daredevil. And they made this show with Daredevil with this great mix of action, drama, romance, and courtroom cases, and courtroom drama. A masterful job of it. And this show, they can't even get that shit right. And this show is about specifically, it's called Attorney at Law. And they can't even do that shit properly. Jesus fucking Christ. Everything about this show is a failure. And it's a failure because they didn't care about making a good product. They knew that they thought, well, if we make something specifically for the females, well, we'll get a quick return. Well, this isn't a movie, dumbass. You're not going to get a quick return. This is a streaming service. Your bet is to make something... On streaming services, the best bet is to make something good. Once you make something good, there'll be word of mouth. Word of mouth will make other people subscribe. You don't just make a show and say, I'm going to make a show called She-Hulk and hope that because women will know that we made it just for them and they'll subscribe to our service. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. You're trying to advertise something to an audience that doesn't even know it exists. And hoping that they will sign up and subscribe to your product, your service, just so that they can watch something they didn't even know existed yesterday. Oh, there's a show called She-Hulk. It's about Hulk, but it's a she. Let me spend money every month to hope that this show is good. That's stupid. Make it a good show. The initial fans of the product, us men, will watch it and we'll do like we did for Daredevil. And we'll say, dude, this shit is fucking good. You gotta watch it. And then people will subscribe. Then you'll get new customers. This isn't a movie, jerk off. You don't have people just throwing their money away before they actually see the product and then you can make a quick return. People have to make a real decision here because this is a monthly investment. So they're not just going to take the chance and hope, well, this 8-episode show may be good enough for me to spend money every month. They're going to ask people and go online and look into it and see. And if, once they see that people are complaining and saying that shit, well, they're not going to subscribe, and you just wasted money. So, did I go off on another tangent? I don't know. I don't like this show. It's not a funny show. The CGI. Normally, I would excuse the CGI because it's supposed to be a television show. But no, because they're lazy with everything else, well, then other things get critiqued. The CGI is just horrible. She looks like a joke. She wears this like pantsuit, and she just looks retarded. It's not even, the character's not even drawn properly. I'm assuming that they're doing that to pander to the homosexual audience, to like homosexual women, to like the masculine homosexual women. Because I mean, She-Hulk in this shit, she looks like a fucking tranny in this. She don't even look like the She-Hulk in the comic books is shapely. She got muscles, but she is shapely. She's just not like this big Mookaloo looking man thing. She looks like a woman, a shapely woman with pecs, with muscles. That's how she looks. In this shit, she just looked like a green man put on a wig. So the CGI is bad. There's no action in this shit. It's a She-Hulk show. I mean, who was this show made for, really? It's She-Hulk, but you're not being faithful to the character of the source material. There's no real Hulk action in the show. The show's not really made for women because women don't even like it. They can't sit for it. It's a kind of like a fuck you to comic book fans, so they're not interested in it. Who did you make this for? Are these shows are they like just vanity projects for people? Because they're not putting any thought into it. Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to throw money in the garbage? Woe is me. Somebody please tell me when Daredevil is finally a show. What episodes he appears in, so I can maybe go and check it out and try to watch. Because I just can't with this garbage. I really can't. Don't watch the show, please. Another show not to watch. I wish I could come up here once in a while and tell people to watch a show. There's a movie out called RRR. It's an Indian movie that I really enjoyed. I made a video just for that, but it got a copyright strike and was taken down. And I'm not gonna do double work to promote somebody's product for free. So that's that's why that's not up there. I do have some videos where I try to say good things about stuff that I like, so I'm not always sounding like a negative Nancy. But I don't know. They're not fun to make, and I don't get paid for them, so I don't do that. So mostly my stuff is negative. But I do wish I could say something positive about stuff, but I can't. Everything I see tends to be a piece of shit. So don't watch this. Don't waste your time. Spread the word to people not to watch this so that these people can actually understand that they need to change and start to make things that are actually for the fans, for the people that actually propped up and made the source material this big, viable thing. All right, that's it. Fuck yourself, Disney. Oh, and fuck you too, Netflix. Just for good measure. Oh, and I gotta add this. One other thing I want to know is, and this isn't, I guess this isn't a bad thing for us males, but for attractive females, and it's not a negative or positive, it's just an observation I have. So the lady that they cast to be She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany, she is average to basic at best. At best. The She-Hulk character she's another one of those characters that's always been known as a showstopper, meaning, when guys see her, they're just like, whoa, she's hot. But they picked this really average to basic to boyish looking actress to play She-Hulk. I just wonder why they do that, because with male characters, it's always a character that everyone can look at, including men, and say, well, that's a handsome man that women would want. But with the female characters, they tend to pick like a basic plain Jane character that men are gonna be like, well, I fuck her, but is she that big of a deal? And I wonder why they're doing that. Is that it's not a bad thing to the males, I guess. It seems like it's really like a bad thing to attractive females. It's like the women that are making these shows, they tend to be dumpy looking, and so I guess because they are not attractive themselves, they go out of their way to pick regular looking women. I don't know why. Again, it's not a negative thing. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just an observation. But you have a lot of these dumpy looking women that are like producers and writers and directors, and they will cast like a like a frumpy, kind of boyish, basic, boring looking woman and to be in certain roles. It's just weird to me that they do that. It's like a lot of the things that are these women just making a show to make themselves feel good. Do they have like an audience in mind, or is this just like I want to make myself feel good project? Because that's weird that they would cast this lady. I don't know why. That was just something I had to say, because whenever I'm watching, as growing up watching television shows and movies that are portraying a male character in a heroic role, 98 to 99% of the time, you're going to get an actor that universally that can be called handsome. Universally, people are going to look at him and say, women are going to want him. Men want to be him. Women want to sleep with him. That's the kind of actor that they normally pick. So just seeing a lot of these shows recently anyway, or at least seeing this. I'm not going to say recently. Maybe there's been other stuff that I've just forgotten about because, the women are just basic and I don't really care. But just watching this, I'm like, well, it's She-Hulk. She's not... Maybe it would work with Captain Marvel. Maybe it would work with Janet Van Dyne, with the Wasp. But for certain characters that are known, the character is known to be a showstopper, like the Scarlet Witch character or She-Hulk, you're going to pick an actress who was a showstopper, not a woman that looks like she could actually play a 12-year-old boy in Stranger Things sequel. So, I don't know. This is an observation. Hate me if you want. I just had to add that in. All right. That's it. I'm done.